Sure. Can you hear me all right?
Yep, you betcha. How are you?
Perfect. Yeah.
Very nice. How was your weekend?
Work mostly, so a little tired,
Yeah.
but beyond that, pretty good.
Remind me how many days a week you work?
Four currently, and about 5 hour shifts per day.
That's pretty good. So it's basically a part-time gig.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, and enough for the insurance policies.
What do you mean?
Well, like you gotta be a part-time employee to get like McDonald's health and dental,
Oh, is that right?
from my
So
understanding, yeah.
what kind of coverage do they have?
Uh, I never
Is it,
asked, but from my understanding, it was everything.
wow, that's pretty
I'll have
cool.
to double check this because that's just what I think I have. It's not necessarily what I do have.
Wow, that's great that they do that. I know that McDonald's is generally regarded as a really good employer. Anytime I've worked anywhere,
Well, I
if
mean,
we saw,
they literally have companies all over the planet, so
Mhm.
it doesn't cost them much when you think about it to give their employees all those benefits because they're getting such a giant package for it.
Yeah, and I mean it's great too because whenever we saw somebody who was working for McDonald's and our like had their resume submitted anywhere I worked where we were hiring, that was always seen as a positive. Sorry, my wife is calling, so I'm just going to remind her that I'm teaching. There we go. All right, let me pull this up here. I think you're so close here. Let me just see here. That's not the right thing. Really, only just a couple of suggestions here. I read all three documents. Um, let's start with you wanted to start with a synopsis.
Yeah, I'm still trying to get. I can do most of the graveyard scene, but I just suck at love scenes.
Fair. Well, the synopsis is solid. I think you're really, really close. I'm just going to make a couple of quick suggestions here just to, make it may potentially just clear, sexier, that kind of thing. Otherwise, the nuts and the bolts of it, your ability to sort of create a kind of an attractive, marketable synopsis is, as before, really strong. Optional if you want off the top to say the BPA in brackets, aka the Bureau of Paranormal Activity, or the Bureau of Paranormal Activity then in brackets BPA. The only reason I say that is later you're going to describe Julius as the BP as working for the BPA, and while you and I might think, well, isn't it obvious? That's the Bureau of Paranormal Activity. Never assume anything is obvious.
Right.
So I might do that, but that's good. The second paragraph, which is solid, might benefit from just making it a little clearer. Because now, however, the Bureau is facing its greatest crisis yet. A terrorist is trying to reveal the supernatural to the general populace. A galactic warlord, and I thought, wait a minute, are these two different? Oh, I get it. So then, and I knew that from reading it before, but it's worded in a way that I'm not. So here's a way to circumvent all of that. Now, however, the Bureau is facing its greatest crisis yet against three earth-breaking forces at once, and then colon, and then say what the three are. Just to sort of say they're facing three things. So the mind is trained to think, oh, okay, I'm about to see three things. Um, and you can take or leave any of these suggestions. You can say a terrorist. Now, if you go, there's a slight grammatical thing too that Grammarly might not pick up. Is facing his greatest crisis yet against three earth-breaking forces at once. However you want to word that. Colon. A terrorist, take out is, a terrorist trying to reveal the supernatural to the general populace, a galactic warlord scheming to conquer Earth, and a coming catastrophe which may end the world regardless. It's just taking out the is. A couple of suggestions, take or leave it. Because you have trying twice, a terrorist is trying to do this and a galactic warlord is trying to do that. I'm just giving you potential alternate verbs. So a terrorist trying to, you can say reveal the supernatural to the general populace, which doesn't sound particularly scary. Like you go from like this terrorist is trying to reveal the supernatural, and this galactic warlord is trying to do this to the Earth and this thing to the Earth. So I was trying to make them all kind of equally menacing, but increasingly menacing. Take or leave this. A terrorist trying to unleash the supernatural on humanity, or something along that line. Unleash is scarier than trying. Because you're so sexy, you personally, of course, because the description you have is so good and so like nail biting. I would juice up the verbs every chance you get.
Mm-hmm.
A galactic warlord, I'm suggesting scheming as an alternate to trying. You can do that to conquer Earth. And coming catastrophe, or a culminating or building, like it sounds like it's the kind of thing where it's not just coming, like it's nowhere near us, but one day it's going to come. No, this thing is building towards
Yeah.
doing this. So
Well,
you might
yeah. My main problem with the last one is I couldn't just put the conjunction is going to happen and a bunch of portals are going to open up all over Earth because,
totally.
while accurate, I wonder if I could just say, and due to natural causes, a bunch of no, no. Just saying,
I
coming
think,
catastrophe works.
yeah, I think this is slick, and I think it's important to keep it, free of any details that the audience doesn't have frame of reference yet to understand what you're talking about. The one thing I would suggest you, and maybe we can just sort of talk about it to clarify the difference. What the Galactic Warlord wants to do and what the catastrophe is going to do sounds like the exact same thing, but I don't think you mean it. So one is saying the Galactic Warlord wants to conquer the Earth, and the coming catastrophe is going to end the Earth. What's the difference? So
Well, for
is the
you, there
Galactic?
isn't going to be much of a difference. For the Galactic Warlord, this is like getting real estate, and then your real estate explodes.
Okay. So maybe a galactic warlord is scheming to take over Earth or something like that, or
Isn't that what conquer means?
it does, but like that's one way to describe it. Conquer is vague enough that some people I don't think would automatically assume like conquer Earth. The Earth is a planet. How do you conquer a planet? Oh no, I don't mean the planet. I mean is trying to take over, the Earth and I think conquer because you've got something that's going to end the world and something that's going to conquer the world. I personally wouldn't assume that audiences will say, what? So isn't conquering and ending the earth the same thing? No, you dummy. They're two different things. Okay, thanks for calling me dumb. I don't understand the difference. So can you choose different words? So I might just get more specific.
So just invading Earth?
Yeah, Galactic Warlord is scheming to invade Earth. Yeah, because then what you have is you have an increasing gradation of threat with these three, which is already in there. Right, the terrorist is trying to unleash the supernatural. Oh yeah, I got one better for you. This galactic, warlord is scheming to, what was the word you said? Invade the Earth. Holy shit, that sounds scarier than unleashing the supernatural. Oh yeah, but it's even worse. Neither of those things matter because this catastrophe is going to end the Earth as we know it. Now that's good because you're clear and showing how each threat is slightly scarier by magnitudes than the one before it, and it's clear. So my suggestion would be to play with that. Your last couple of paragraphs are the ones where I know where you're. No, I think it's good, but I think there's a way to tie it a little more organically to what you've said before it. Not that my wording is perfect.
Well, it's probably better than mine. I can think of anything better.
Well, and I like that you're trying to, for example, it's just a bit awkward. So here's one thing you may say differently. But those are the last things on the mind of BPA veteran Julius, whatever his last name is. I definitely would put that right. That's right.
I mentioned his name, or as Julius Flamel likes to call it, Mondays. Last sentence of the Galactic Warlord paragraph.
Oh, wow. Okay, yeah. I don't know how I missed that. There we go.
I mean, I'll admit I added it in last minute, but I'm pretty sure I sent you the right file.
No, it's right in front of me. I love that line.
Maybe not the ending of the paragraph because you skipped it, so probably should.
I'm torn. That's my favorite sentence in the whole thing that I totally forgot to read because I remember it last time. The challenge is it's a bit jerky because then it goes into the next paragraph. I'm going to put it in orange because I'm not sure I want to invite you to necessarily get rid of it. But I would say the coming catastrophe, or however you word that may end the word regardless. Something that I think I would go right into the next idea. But those are the last things on the mind of BPA veteran Julius Flamel. Today, he's just trying to keep his latest rookie trainee from hurting anyone, including himself.
Herself.
Herself. There you go. Together, they'll discover. Then the last paragraph. The concept is brilliant. Feels a little awkward. Mine may not be, a million times better. But together, they'll discover that saving the world is off the table. The only question left is how many people will have to die to save the rest of mankind, or something along that line. So what I'm really doing with these last two paragraphs, and I would chew on it and see what feels right to you. Go ahead and type mine in there and then play with it and see if you like it, because I'm sure there's something better than what I've given you. But it's just a slightly, because I don't think I need working for an underfunded, underworked bureaucratic nightmare took me right out of it, even though I like it. And eventually we're going to find that out. That felt like something you don't need in a synopsis that doesn't officially exist. All of that felt really awkward in the mouth and the brain, and I tripped up on it. So trying to wrangle the walking disaster. There's the BPA's newest rookie is his own personal disaster. You got disaster twice, which is awkward. So I think I would just get a little more human and down to earth and saying, but trying to deal with these three catastrophes is the last thing on Julius's mind. He's just trying to help his rookie not die today, or kill anybody else, or those kinds of sentiments, because that's relatable. That's very, and it's funny, I'm going to save the world later. I just got to keep this person from doing this shit, right? So it's all inherent in your synopsis. So I think it's brilliant. So I would play with that, but I think you're that close. I think there's just a couple of reworks, a slight rewording in the last couple of paragraphs, and you're golden.
Okay, good.
So if you want to send me,
I'm probably going to send you it again next week.
That's fine. Yeah, and I would expect that. I think that's a good idea. It's good. The slog work, but you're doing it. You're nailing it. I'm going to go right to the prologue, if that's okay.
Sure, let's
because there's right so little to talk about here. This is, as far as I'm concerned, you're like a hair away from being able to just publish it and get it over.
Seriously, still not done?
It's just here in the part of it is the spelling, the grammar, all this is great. Even capitalization, which I know is a bit of more of an issue with the Julius chapter. Oh, here's one. You often will start a sentence with a lowercase letter, like tell my family, but this is cleaner than the other one. It's otherwise really strong. I don't even know if you have to do this, any of these suggestions that I'm saying. This is purely cosmetic, because I think that you can juice it up just a touch. The monster, I love the change here, of course. The monster squeezed her between both hands and she exploded like rotting fruit. So gross. Love every second of that. Her innards spraying. So this is just a wording thing. Should be spraying rather than sprayed if it's all one sentence. So the monster squeezed her between both hands and she exploded like rotting foot. Her innards sprang across the ground in a red slurry. The reason I'm suggesting you get rid of that made Richard want to retch is I can't think of a single human being who would watch somebody explode and their blood go everywhere who wouldn't want to retch. I get it. Like, I mean, of course it made him want to retch. It says, it's like saying her innards sprang across the road in a red slurry that made Richard go, oh, gross. Yeah, it's fucking gross. A woman just exploded. It's gross. So my suggestion would be...
But on the other hand, this is also writing, so sometimes you got to reiterate basic points.
Totally. So my suggestion along that line, because there is something in the making Richard want to retch, describe his action rather than that made him want to do that, because it would make anybody want to retch. Suggestion, her innards sprang across the ground in a red slurry. Richard held back the vomit, thinking as many happy thoughts as he could find in his screaming mind, or something along that line. Like Richard held back the vomit. It's not even saying Richard tried not to be sick. Like he's like, I picture him like be like, oh, here comes the puke, right? But something along the line where he's like, he's thinking like he's doing anything in his mind to not go crazy.
Probably something more along the lines of he choked the bile back down.
Yeah, totally, yeah. Richard's mouth filled with, like I would go, Richard's mouth filled with vomit, and then he swallowed it back down. Like it's just something just absolutely gross. But filling his mind with happy thoughts could also be funny, because this is what I love so much about the back half of your prologue is in the middle of all this, Richard is slowly going insane with what he's saying, not slowly, quickly going insane. And so the idea that he's like, I'm in a happy place. I'm in a happy, like in his head, not really silly like that, but you know what I'm saying? Play with that, if you will. I'll kill you, piece of shit. My suggestion might be that piece of shit sounds awfully nice and mild given the situation. As piece of shit is what I call somebody who's just done something shitty. Oh, you're a piece of shit. You stole that thing. You lied, whatever. This guy just made a woman explode between his hands. So I'd be like, like, you motherfucker, son of a bitch, bastard, all those things you expect Arnold Schwarzenegger to say, right? When he's fighting a predator. Because this is a Predator scene. If ever there was you just trumped Predator with this scene, by the way. That's something that occurred to me this time. This is better than Predator. So I would like lean into more, instead like, you bad person. Nope. You are a motherfucker. You're not a piece of shit. You just made a woman blow up by squeezing her too hard. Brilliant. Play with that, whatever you want. Love, love, love the rest of it. It's so solid. Little thing at the end, also not necessary. When he goes, no, when it says he failed to notice the message, I thought, oh, it doesn't matter if he failed to notice, he's dead anyway. My suggestion would be as he squelched into oblivion, or as he slipped into death.
Oh, no, he's not dead.
Oh,
no,
okay.
He's one of the scientists that they were going to rescue later.
So my suggestion might be then, instead of...
I say scientist, really. He's going to be the crazy person they find in the cabin later who's just rocking back and forth.
Gotcha. I would say rather than he failed to notice, he didn't, because it doesn't matter if he failed to notice it or not. It happened, but he didn't notice. I might just go for something like that. It's so minor. You take it or leave it. You can keep it the way it is too. This is solid. Do what you want with these slight changes. Make sure that your capitals are there. I think this is you're good to go.
Okay.
I think, and if you're good, are you still doing the publishing online thing?
Yeah. As soon as I get literally the synopsis is the only reason I'm not done.
Bonus. Okay. Chapter 1. Let's go over here to Julius. So Julius, some of this is just basic grammar. And the reason I know we're not hitting grammar, the reason I want to start hitting it now is just to have less for you to do later. Mm-hmm. So the biggest single comment you're going to see is make sure you capitalize the first letter of all of these sentences. Lots and lots and lots of that. Commas where they're appropriate, you'll see in different places. Here's a little thing like, thank you, comma, Julius gave.
You're actually supposed to have commas at the end of like abbreviation things? I was never sure on that.
Yeah, like for things like this, like you've got it in different places. Like here, like and desecrated the 39 corpses, comma, close quotes, Julius. That's perfect. That's except for the capital A at the beginning of the end.
I put it there because Grammarly keeps telling me to, but I'm not sure if that's. But I was never sure
Definitely.
if that was the actual right answer.
Same thing with ghouls. Same thing with thank you here. There's a couple of places where it appears, but it's pretty minor. Off the top, and I love this chapter. This chapter's, again, love it like I always have. Because you've got banana split here, I think, and then you say banana split Sunday again, and the next one I'm going to suggest you cut the second one banana. Just, here you go, sir. We know it. It's a banana split. We know that because you just told us it was a banana split. So you don't need to have them say, here you go, sir, one banana split Sunday after you've just said banana split Sunday. And I think 3 scoops of vanilla ice cream between 2 banana halves. If I read that for the first time, be like, yeah, it's a banana split. I get it. Like, I don't know if you need to say 2 banana halves again. I mean, not again, but to explain it. Up to you. Totally your call. Thank you. Julius gave, thank you. Actually here, thank you, period. Usually in this case, unless you say, thank you, comma, Julius said, as he gave the waitress his best smile. That's when you would have a comma. I'll just put that over here. Said as he. Before turning back to Watkins, my suggestion here for sentence flow would be, thank you, Julius said, as he gave the waitress his best smile. Oh, you can't have gives I think what I would do is as she gave the waitress his best smile, period, and then cross out this as is probably, I think that's probably a better way to, why am I not seeing it? Let's do this here. So after all of that, thank you, Julius said as he gave the waitress his best smile. She left before turning back to Watkins, comma, a tall man with slick back hair and a perfect black suit, rather than Watkins, having his name twice. Down below here where it says Watkins stared at his cone for a minute as Julius dug in with gusto. I think you can leave it dug into his or just dug in with gusto. Oh, there's another capital. What are you doing here, sir? Or what are we doing here, sir? I don't mind this line where it says Julius looked at Watkins like he had gone insane, but I think you can go right to, what are we doing here, sir? I like not being told what he looks like and let the dialogue tell me probably what he looks like. What are we doing here? We're eating ice cream, Watkins. What did you think we were doing? Oh, there's another comma. Sorry, one sec. We're getting ice cream, man. What do you think we were doing? Hey, eat up before it all melts. And I think you can get rid of that too. So my suggestion would be before it all melts. Because you've got mouthful up here, you don't need mouthful twice. I would kind of recommend that. Sir, I joined the Bureau of Paranormal Activity to fight monsters. And you just told me that a pack of corpse-eating monsters. Oh, I was trying to figure out how, that's not even a complete sentence, but you're not trying to make it a complete sentence. What you would do is you'd do this. Monsters, double dash. Or there's 2 ways to do this. Or
right, it's double dash. I almost forgot.
Monsters, kind of like that. Because what it looks like is an incomplete sentence with a period at the end.
Hmm.
So you could either do double dash or ellipses. Ghouls, comma Julius said, around a mouthful of ice cream. Mouthful here is one word of ice cream. Yes, you told me these ghouls moved to the local cemetery, killed 3 people, and desecrated 39 corpses. So he would be cut off here, killed 3 people. Let me see. This just signals to the audience or the reader that this is an interruption. People, say ellipsis or whatever. And I think and desecrated 39. So, and I might get rid of the second and since you just had and here.
Mm-hmm.
No disrespect, sir, but why the hell are we sitting here at 2 a.m. eating snacks? I would suggest rather than Julius didn't answer him at first because that's already implied, but the fact that he's doing something before he answers. So what are we doing eating snacks? Julius cut off a piece of the banana and popped it into his mouth before turning his attention to Watkins. This is mostly grammar. This is great here. My suggestion is he goes from being calm and in control to being, I mean, I definitely get the sort of the sense of his irritation here. Watkins, eat your fucking ice cream. It diminished Julius a bit. He just sounded cranky rather than like, oh, I thought he was in. He says, Watkins, eat your fucking ice cream. That's an order. And rather than, Jesus, do I have to explain this fucking newbie, especially since you haven't said anything yet? It just makes him sound like a cranky old man rather than somebody who's trying to hold, capture the moment.
Well,
keep it in there.
He is a cranky old man.
Yeah, and I know that. And so because I know that already, hearing him say that makes me go, okay, they're really trying to drive home that he's, so it's sort of like the thing that the charm of this scene is that he's sort of keeping his relative cool, even as he's saying, eat your ice cream, that's an order. Definitely keep it in if you want to, but then I wouldn't go for the second one because he's like, fuck me, god damn it, recruits later. And when jumping down to that, I don't, and keep it if you want to. When he says, now I can't even eat this thing, fuck me. I almost wanted him, and I'm suggesting it, you can take or leave it. It's people like you that take all the fun out of blowing shit up. Or something along that line, rather than it feels too easy to go just swear word, fucking recruits. I thought he's been so clever and so smart with the way he's talking now. It suddenly felt like he went from this smart guy to just like a dumpster fire. So I'm suggesting you kind of keep it elevated. Plus, there's a joke potentially in there. God, you take all the fun out of ripping monsters apart or whatever. But otherwise, good. Those are relatively minor suggestions you can take or leave, and nothing after that. So it's mostly grammatical or not even spelling. It's just making sure to capitalize or punctuate and so on. Little cosmetic suggestions you can take or leave. It flows. It absolutely flows as it always has. So I think your chapter 1 is in good shape. Are you, for next week, are you thinking you might dig in and write some more? Do you want to just sort of for next week polish up the prologue, the synopsis in these pages, send that to me one more time, and then we can go into next pages? Your choice, really.
I honestly don't think I'll be sending you the prologue next week. At this point, like even as it is, it's pretty much just finished at this point.
I think so.
So I think I can safely say we're done with the prologue. The synopsis is going to still remain the main point. Hopefully I'll have chapter 2 done by then. Maybe not. I honestly don't know. Still struggling with trying to do the lovey-dovey scene in the beginning because I hate those.
Yep.
And I understand such a vast array of emotions and scenarios, but love is not one of them.
Well, this is how you're getting practice. Just think of how great you'll be in the area of romance and love by being a writer. And you can tell her that. You can say, the reason I'm such a Casanova is because this guy helped me write romantic scenes in my scripts.
No, it's probably because I went and actually watched Casanova.
There you go.
That was a good show.
So yeah, there you go. If you're cool with that, I'm cool with that.
Yeah, perfect. See you next week then.
Yeah, and I was going to ask you, do you mind if we meet next Monday at 7:30 instead of 5:30, or is that too late for you?
That's fine.
Awesome. Okay, I will schedule. I'm just going to make a note of that too. Let me just write this down. See you next Monday at 7:30. Perfect. I'll just make sure if I got all those things in here. Recent. Boom, 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 boom. Okay. Have a great week, Caden. We'll see you next week.
Will do. See you then.
Take care.
Bye bye.